Hello, this is Yarrow. Welcome to my daily update for the Yarrow podcast, which will also be circulated via Patric AI to my social channels. This audio will be turned into a Facebook post, a LinkedIn post. It'll be circulated as a podcast. It will go on X. It also will be available as an article. And, if I really like it, I'll share it to my newsletter this week as well. All of that is done for me via Patric AI, which is my new AI tool. That's PATRIC.ai. And you can use it for free. If you also want to create content using 5 minutes, 10 minutes of audio, I encourage you to go try it out. So speaking of Patric, one of the things I'm thinking about right now is a marketing campaign for Patric. So what am I going to do to actually get a broader range of people to see it? The obvious thing, as entrepreneurs, we think about marketing all the time. I actually was laughing about this. I think I probably have spent more time contemplating marketing. What can I do to get customers for my businesses as an adult, like the last 25 plus years, than any other subject. It's been like a passion, but also like this problem I always have to solve. I know there's some lucky entrepreneurs out there who build something that get more inbound interest. They just have so much viral referrals, word of mouth, just new technology. They just get too many customers coming at once. I've never experienced that. I'd love to experience it, but I think probably like myself, you are in the same boat. You're thinking about how to get customers. You have an existing business, or maybe you're launching something new, and you're thinking, what can I do to get people to see what I'm offering, see my product or service or software or whatever it is that you're selling? So this has become an even more challenging issue, I think right now, especially because of the dilution of attention. So in the past, I've gotten great results from having an email newsletter, but email is not necessarily as reliable because there's just so much more going in a person's inbox. And you've got issues like going to spam, going to promotions tab in Gmail. So, chances are your emails aren't necessarily being read by as many people as they would have been in the past. Your social media content is very much governed by the algorithm. So it is a great channel, but most of the time when you're posting something there, it's not going to anyone new. And it's probably only going to a sliver of the people who do connect with you or follow you on the platforms. Publish a YouTube video, especially during the early days when you don't have an audience, is not going to just magically get thousands and thousands of viewers. Paid advertising is the only one where you put money into it, you will get exposure, you will get clicks. But there's a huge amount of money wasted, especially early on, because you basically have to fail to figure out what works. So you can spend months on campaigns that get clicks but never turn into a customer. And that means advertising is not necessarily the reliable source either. Plus, you need money. So it's a real challenging time to grow a business online and find customers. Obviously, you have to think about the foundation principles that make a business work. Who are you selling to? What are you selling them? You want to be in a hungry market. You want to have a clear target demographic, a ICP, ideal customer profile that you're going after. And that makes your marketing easier because you can go after certain groups of people and you don't need as many. Most of my career, I've never reached millions of people. I've mostly sold to just a few hundred, maybe 1,000 at most with some of my online courses back in the day. So you don't need large swaths of customers. I mean, I have a 7-figure business now. We've got like 60 to 70 customers most of the time who are on, recurring payment plans, but it's over, $1 million a year business. You don't need a lot, but you do have to find them somehow. So I'm thinking about this right now with my new business, Patric AI, and also just as always to grow my agency and even my coaching. So, this audio is one of my main tools for reaching the audience who still pay attention to me, who may have followed my blogging career, who are subscribed to my newsletter, who connect with me on social. There's a few hundred people who see this, and hopefully there's 3 or 4 of you who will actually need coaching this year, especially if you're planning on doing content marketing. That's one of the areas I can especially help with. But, any kind of strategic thinking about growing your business to your first million, that's what my coaching is about at insidegrowth.com. I've already had a couple of new clients sign up. I'm looking to get about 5 because it is a private coaching. I'm doing one-on-one, so I don't have a lot of time for it, but I'm looking for about 5 clients. So I've got 3 spots left. If you are interested in that, that's insidegrowth.com. So, when I do this kind of content, it is going to my existing audience and it's fine for getting coaching clients, but I would never rely on it for example, being the only thing I need to make Patric, my new tool, succeed. It's a low cost software. It's free to start with as well. You can certainly use it for free. You have some limitations on how much you can use it, but it's fully featured for free. So I'm looking at how do I get more people there? And the challenge here is I can either spend a lot of money on paid media. I can try and create the kind of content that the algorithm on social platforms will surface, a bit of exposure beyond my core audience on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram could work wonders for at least reaching some new audience. Same with YouTube. Could start developing a bunch of content for that channel in the hope that one of my videos will also, reach new people. You get a hit there. And all these things are ongoing channels that you have to keep working on over time. You can't just expect them to, magically work because one video is successful, and you have to have a process to turn the audience you reach through a successful video or a successful social media post into customers. So you need some kind of funnel or campaign as well. So there's lots of facets to this, but I've really been just thinking about new eyeballs. How do I get the attention of new people in the current space? And I really think there's only two channels that you can say could lead to a significant breakthrough. And that really is the social media and multimedia algorithms and the paid advertising. It's kind of sad to think about this, but we're really beholden to a few platforms, whether it's Google or Meta or TikTok or YouTube. They're the big paid media platforms and the social platforms. They have the attention, they have the large audiences. Yes, you can do some good things with affiliate marketing. You can get some results with other forms of paid advertising, like sponsoring a podcast, sponsoring a newsletter. There's some more niche-based platforms, like I guess they're just really smaller social platforms, like a Pinterest or a Reddit. They're not really small. They also have hundreds of millions of people, and they have their own advertising platforms that just aren't quite as competitive as going to Meta or Google. But at the end of the day, we're kind of all putting our money on these big platforms, and there's not much else you can really do to quickly reach a lot of people with a new campaign. That's why almost all of my entrepreneurial friends on some level are giving money to these big companies to try and reach their customers. The alternative, of course, is don't spend money and do things like content marketing, which is what I do for my agency. But it's slower. It's not as controlled. You don't know when someone's going to search for what you're selling. So I'm always looking for new experiments to run there. And they're often just channel experiments. Let's pick one newsletter to advertise on, or, one podcast to promote or become a guest on. Or whatever, pick your platform. I did a Reddit advertising experiment recently just to see if anything would come from that. So everything requires a test. And more often than not, there has to be something behind the test too. So in fact, that's what I'm thinking about now. And it's probably a topic for another audio. But if you're going to go and get a new form of traffic, you want to make sure that you're driving it through some kind of campaign that allows you to keep going back to those people and building trust over time. The only time I would argue you don't have to think about that as much is when you get people who are actively searching for what you sell. And that's pretty much only for Google search or AI search. That's the only time where you can go direct from someone searching for what you sell, them coming to your website and purchasing after maybe a sales call, or maybe even directly there. Possibly the same could be said for lower priced e-commerce products when it comes to social ads. I know I've made a purchase of clothing and items for my house just after seeing an Instagram ad. I didn't need to watch a webinar or go through some kind of email sequence in order to, buy that product. I just, saw the one video about it and went and purchased. So, lower cost items, more commoditized things. But if you're selling a high ticket coaching program, an agency service, even software. I think, yes, you can have free trials. The good old freemium option is a way to get people to test something out. And maybe you don't need to have quite as deep an educational process to convince them to do a free trial. Like, for example, with Patric, I'm not planning on doing an entire webinar presentation yet. Maybe that might be a campaign we're trying. But I will definitely do some things similar to that to try and engage and educate people on what Patrick does, get them to do the free trial, and then, try and drive traffic through that. I'm thinking of running a challenge. That's very likely the first type of campaign I expect to run with that because it just lines itself well for what Patrick does. But yeah, it is a challenge, no pun intended, to figure out what campaign to run, what marketing experience to put people through, and then make sure you can keep going back to these people knowing that nothing is 100% reliable. Not every email you send to a newsletter is opened. Not every post you put on social media is seen by your audience. Not every video is viewed by everyone, and often it's only viewed for the first 10%. So you have to have a mechanism to keep reaching new people, keep going back to existing people who are paying attention, and it can't stop. That's why I do believe in the potential of a tool like Patrick, because it lowers the barrier to producing something on a daily basis across multiple platforms. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm recording this audio, because I know this one piece of content will not reach even 1,000 people. Chances are it's only going to reach several hundred at best. But someone listening to me speak right now might be ready to hire me as a coach and go to insidegrowth.com, might be ready to do some voice to content marketing using Patrick. So if you're just like me, you like to speak for 5 minutes to be your content creation machine, Patrick's great for that. Or perhaps you're listening to this and you actually need to hire an executive assistant, and you'll go to Inbox Done to break free from email and scheduling and other tasks. It's the one or two or three people within the hundreds or thousands that actually become customers. And that's why you have to keep going back and keep building trust and keep educating and keep testing new ways to reach new people. And that's how you build a business. So I remind myself of this. I think in the past, I used to get too hung up on whether one campaign did something. And if it didn't, I got really down. And now I just see everything as an experiment. And it's just, keep taking shots. You have to keep having shots on goal. I think I had this as a topic of a previous episode. It's all about multiple shots on goal to figure out what works. And even if it doesn't consistently work, just keep doing it, because you get one or two clients from here, you get another two or three there, you start to build up a client base, you start to get more word of mouth or referrals, you get better at what you do, and that's how you build an actual business. That's very much the story of my agency. We never had like this massive viral, unbelievable amount of clients coming in at once, but we kept finding more people where it actually is a great fit for them. They got value. They started to refer other people. We got better at what we did. And then we started to get a few clients from paid advertising, a few clients from Google, a few clients from AI search. So the content marketing would start to work as well. And it starts to compound, especially when you've got a recurring payment. Whatever it is you're charging for is recurring. That helps a lot too. It increases the lifetime value of a customer. Anyway, I'm kind of covering all kinds of aspects of business here, but I think I'll end with this one point that I think is really important to emphasize. You cannot grow a business if you're not reaching people. It's simple. You need to keep reaching new people. You need to keep reaching the same people you've already reached again and again. That's how you get customers, and it can't stop. You can't simply decide, you know what, I'm going to stop doing marketing, because you'll stop getting customers, and that's how businesses die. So you have to keep looking for new ways to reach people. And don't doubt, if you have got people who are happy with what you sell, there are other people out there who will also be happy with what you sell. You just have to find them. They have to find you. So you've got to go out there and do things. I'm a big fan of content marketing. I will always say you need to do that as a bare minimum. And then, of course, experiment with other platforms and other forms of advertising and marketing. Okay, that's it for today. My name is Yarrow. I will speak to you on another episode of the Yarrow Podcast. Bye-bye.